Charge up your game with excitement. Highest odds on the market. Coverage of all live and pre-match events. Place your bets with Solid Bookmaker and win with your favorite teams. Take what's rightfully yours with GG.bet.
Well, hello everybody and welcome to NASR taking on NOM. We are jumping right on into the game now. The knife round has just finished and we're here on the map pick of NASR, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, indeed, NASR picking Overpass, NOM picking Dust 2, and then the decider was left over as Inferno, which was NOM's choice between that and Mirage. As we look towards this is a very, very fresh and new lineup coming through from NOM. We've not seen them play all too much. But as we take a look at NASR, this is a team that we've seen compete for quite a while, and so we're expecting a lot from them. Coming into this tournament, indeed, is one of the more well-versed teams in the region, and definitely looking decent as they start on their map pick, at least, giving them a chance to build up a little bit of momentum. That said, NOM have had some really good results, and although they've got very few maps under their belt, they do seem to be a pretty strong individual team. We'll see if that holds through to them and stands by them as we move on into the first round. The pistol as Kazoo and KitKat pick up 2. NASR are at a man advantage as NOM begin to make their way towards that B bomb site. They've already got control towards Monster, but they've got to be careful. Coming up behind them is Zenser picking up 2 as he goes through short, and now things become a little bit more difficult for them, although luckily they did manage to take those picks towards Monster as well, leaving only Refnik, I think it's just Kaki, is it? Over towards Monster. Got the long names coming out. Low HP on both of these players, but Havoc's just about able to come out on top there. A headshot connected, and if that headshot hadn't have landed, that could have been very scary indeed. So it looks like we've got a little bit of odds coming out for you. I'll swing those up on the screen in just a moment's time. As we look into this, right, 1-0, NASR get a little bit of a lead. It's not too much, though. It's not the biggest of deals. I mean, realistically, NOM can very easily pull this back, going into this round with a little bit of a mixed buy. A mixed investment, I suppose. Just taking a couple deagles in play. They've not got a whole lot to work with in terms of armor, but the one-shot potential of those deagles is certainly going to be a scary prospect. As NASR have already found out, losing a player on short, and the A bomb site now left completely open. That could cause a little bit of a problem for them, as they have to rotate all the way up through the CT spawn. It gives NOM a little bit of progress as they've slowly crept up short. But you can see there's not actually a whole lot going on, really. Zenser's come up, but he's on his own. They're not looking to push the bomb site. Obviously, they had no idea that there were no other players here. Players have already rotated up, although we see another kill come in for the T side. It should still be very difficult to get over towards this bomb site, get the bomb down. A 2v3, armor on their opponents, no armor on the T's, you know, 2 SMGs in play, Breaker and Kazoo as well. They'll absolutely melt them if they get the angle. So it's all about the first shots landing for the T side and primarily landing towards the heads, and that's the real problem. The utility thrown out doesn't see all too much reward. The FAMAS spray down! Great second shot going to be connected as Breaker goes down, and now that bomb should be planted. You can see Havoc rotating on up. He's slowly coming through CT. That's a really nice round developed already for NOM. I mean, the amount of damage they've managed to do to their economy, the economy of the CT side, and it's still possible to pull this back and find the win. In a 1v1 with limited HP, but 3 kills under the belt already, and a FAMAS in play, this could very easily swing over into heavy favor for NOM, and they could find this round, but it could be a little bit awkward. Havoc coming over, spots the ass, and oh no. He's not gonna knife him. It's the second round. Come on, Havoc. Even with the disrespect and a little bit of extra money going through for the CTs, it is still a phenomenal round from NOM. Realistically, in a round like that, going in with just pistols upgraded, you expect to see them maybe find 2 kills. 3 would be fantastic, but to find 4 and a bomb plant is definitely worlds apart from what we expected of NOM coming into this. Now the opportunities develop even further. As they pull out AKs, they can even get an AWP in, which could be a little bit of a problem for their counter-terrorist counterparts. So this round's really important for the T's, but they lose their op straight away as Nerds continues on towards Monster and finds the trade. I'm not sure if they're going to want to commit to this B bomb site though, because NASR have already fully rotated over 3 players. They've also got control coming in through connector, and NOM know that they're at the deficit of, well, map control, really, information as well. So they decide to spread out. They've got a player up towards the A bomb site pushing long, who's soon going to find out that it's completely clear. And this could prompt them to start a rotation over. The only problem being that Kazoo has that position over towards the connector, and towards the back of connector on the ladder. So he can catch them if they start to rotate up through connector, and even if they go through T-spawn. But perhaps a better idea, just wait. Allow Bu to push on down and catch some flanks, find some kills from behind, and throw themselves ahead. That's what they're going to do, as Bu is creeping in towards the heaven. He's going to see if he can spot anybody down on the bomb side and find a kill. And I think it might just be his lucky day, because they have absolutely no idea. Lining up at least one, can't spot any more players, but there it is, eventually a second, and beautiful. 2 shots connected, opening kills. Nerds comes in with another, and Kazoo, who is in the connector, is all alone. 1v4, picks up 1, takes an AK as well, but pulling off this clutch will be very difficult. NOM are playing passive. They're not going to be isolated, at least they're going to attempt not to be, and even as Bu took that kill by himself, his teammates were there to swing out and find a trade if he were to go down. So altogether, a well-played round for NOM, and again, finding the rounds on the board early on looks very good for them, especially just taking into consideration how they found the first round, how close it was in round number 2, where they had only the Deagles. Wow, what an opening kill for Nami. I mean, they come in with the Deagles themselves. NASR on the force buy. They're putting all their economy on the front lines, hoping that they can win this out. And it's almost like an era of desperation. Perhaps they know that NOM are walking over them on an individual side, and they don't want to allow anything near a strong start to come through for this T side. Even still, that could cause some problems, because NOM still have 4 players up. They've got AKs in play alongside their AWP. I don't think they're going to look to slow things down all too much. They won't be avoiding very much combat as they're grouped up towards B. They don't look for map controller to retake towards A. Instead, they're going to commit to this B bomb site, already finding 2 kills. They know there's another up close as Havoc finds nothing but a bullet to the head, and Kit Kat goes down as well. With that, NASR are left in a 1v3. The best situation really is to find a weapon and go and save. Maybe a couple more kills, but Nerds creeping on forward has spotted Kazoo, but goes down in the process, leaving into a 1v2. And now this is winnable, especially if he can get his hands on that AK as he swings over to get it, though Bu is there to take him down and make sure that the opportunities aren't really a brewing for the T side all too soon. Into a 2-2 scoreline, and NOM have pulled this back. Considering the fact that they lost the pistol, look at the economy for NASR. They've got nothing to work with, so this should again be the lead taken over by NOM, which is a scary spot to allow them into this early on. And you can see the odds up the top of your screen there. As coming into map number 1, it's definitely NOM that are looking like the better team. And obviously the bets for the first round are closed, but coming into map number 2, they are still going to be favored. At least for now. Things could change. That's what's currently represented. So if you believe in NOM making this, claiming the next map, which is their map pick, you can hop on over and place your bets on gg.bet. But moving on over towards the A-bomb site, NASR are going to be going for a retake with all pistols to play with. 1 P250 in play. Everything else is just going to be USPs, but it's the USPs to open it up, or at least one of them, as it's very quickly dealt with. Nerds coming in with a quick double on the SMG, which is more important because he's getting some extra money for that versus what you would get with the AK-47. So it's always nice to build up that cash early on. So as we move in, like, the fact that NOM have got so little to work with in terms of maps overall, they've never played Overpass as a team. You are expecting to see less structure coming through from these guys, certainly than what NASR are fronting when they've got about 20 maps played as a unit. But right now, it doesn't seem to be the case. NOM are not only winning out on an individual level, there we go, but also when it comes to team play, they seem to be executing very well towards bomb sites. They're not offering up too many opportunities for one-for-ones to be picked up. And that's contrary to what I would have really expected from a team that are coming into this as what is essentially a mix, although I'm sure they have got a little bit of practice together, and that much is evident. In terms of the officials that they've played, they've only got 5 maps under their belt as of right now, this being their 6th official game on HLTV. Kazoo swinging around to try and find a second kill, actually manages it by taking down Zenser, leaving the advantage over towards NASR. And with that, I think NOM are going to have a very hard time making this work. They're being flanked out on short, and they've got to rely on those individual performances shining through bright as can be. Not only that, but also the look of the timing, as they'll hope not to be caught out by KitKat coming up behind. Indeed, they avoid that outcome, but Havoc is swinging around with an AK, and the bomb still hasn't been planted. A bit of a safe plant going through, though, as they're going to go for it over towards the truck. Successfully taken. Bu now is going to want to get a little bit aggressive by the looks of things. I thought he was going to go into CT, but no, he's conscious of another player coming up behind, catches a headshot onto Havoc, and now things get very scary because Breaker only has a UMP, and even in a 4v2, it looks like NASR have been taken down. Bu even going so far as to headshot his opponent, meaning the HP didn't even matter. You can see there on the scoreboard, we're having a pretty good game straight away for Ref Nikaki. Decent name. Not going to be hard to say at all. Let me just double check what we're rolling with, because it can always be a little bit confusing when players are using their face-it names or their alternative in-game names. La Refni. Oh, I have actually cast him before, so despite this being a new lineup, I think back when he was on, oh, the one with the star. What's that team called? It's an Israeli team, I think? Unique Stars, that's the one. Oh, no, how's Kazoo done that? He's got a beautiful position, and they're going late down towards connector, not checking their corners. That's a little bit of an awkward spot to be in. Nerds picks up one to at least pull it back somewhat, but NASR have picked up an AK as well as extra money from getting the knife kill. And that's already a great start for them through the smoke. KitKat lands another. And look, although it's a 3v3 and normally this is really bad, think about the economic situation that NASR came into this round with. They've now got the potential to save an AK. And in a 2v3, winning the round isn't completely out of the question either. Losing that player, though, I think Kazoo wants to just save. Realistically, he should be avoiding combat. Even though they have money, it's better to just save over a little bit more. You can't buy AKs, so you'd have that for the next round, but it's taken away, taken out of his hands, leaving it 5-2. With NASR having to invest pretty much all of their economy into this round. And it's certainly becoming an awkward spot. A pause comes through, and as you can see, it's the CTs, NASR, that are calling the pause. Not exactly beyond understanding. They're behind by 3 rounds, 5-2. NOM on their T side of Overpass, obviously not where you want to see them picking up the majority of their rounds. You could maybe make an excuse and say, okay, well, this is their map pick, if it was. But it's not. This is NASR's map pick, and so really we need to see them having a decent score here. We need to see them putting up a very good fight, and so far that just has not been the case. Furthermore, you think further into it, the fact is they've played Overpass 3 times as a unit. They've had a pretty successful run here whenever they've played. They took down Lucid Dream, they took TNC, lost to Aquis. I'm not too familiar with TNC or Aquis, but 16-11. They've never been stomped out on the map. Especially considering the fact that these teams are mostly playing qualifiers, like Asian minor qualifiers, which is where I know them both from primarily for ESL's major. The fact that they're not getting completely stomped out on a map is always a good sign, but even still, it's proving to not be very positive of a map for them so far anyways. Nami misses the shot with the AWP. He's going to be punished heavily for it. Swinging in is Kazoo to try and pull back the A-bomb side into their favor, but it doesn't look to be all too plausible. Actually going to completely swing around the smoke. He's been heard, at least, moving towards default bomb site, but NOM are behind. They're in a 2v3. Great position from Kazoo. The spray down isn't there, but he does the damage to Kobe. Will that follow through with the kill? No, because already out of there. Larefny is over towards short. He's bailed towards the connector side of it, as he's going to look to find them from afar with the AWP. Definitely the better decision, considering he's so low. But a rough spot nonetheless. Better decisions or not, he's only got 40 seconds to go. And they're kind of playing around each other now as well. No matter the angle he peaks, they should be able to swing out and find a trade. They've even heard him scoping in, knowing now that he's on short. This will prove to be a very difficult spot to win from. 25 seconds on the clock, and peeking out towards bank, you're going to see Breaker find that kill. You expect it, and indeed it comes through. Now on 5-3, NASR at least pull another round off. But losing so many players still puts them in a scary spot. You can see if they lose this round, you are going to see NOM most likely take a 7th round on the board, as NASR would be forced down to just taking a couple of pistols, so they have barely any money to work with for the next round. They could force if they wanted to, but then you're really risking throwing the game away. And so NOM at the moment, this is their opportunity to pull ahead, to leave themselves a massive gap to work from. If they can get 7 rounds, especially so early on the T side, it'll be very difficult for them to lose this map, and give them a lot of breathing room if things do start to go awry when they swap sides. But even before we think about swapping sides, later on in the half is what we need to worry about. As will NASR be having a positive experience there. They find an opening kill down towards Monster. Breaker's going to be swinging on in to find another. This is very awkward, but KitKat finds the kill in the smoke as he was rubbing shoulders with Zenser, quite literally touching tips with the weapons into a 2v3. A UMP in play for Kazoo, an AWP and an M4 to fight against, and that doesn't put NOM in the best of positions to pull this back. Splitting through Monster and short as well puts them in a little bit of an awkward spot where they're not going to be able to trade too efficiently. They have to rely on winning these duels individually. As KitKat takes down one, it leaves only Bew to pull this off, and he's spotted out from heaven as well, which certainly doesn't help. Excuse me. Now, as we move on into round number 10, NASR securing that at least grants them a little bit more freedom. And they should come into this round with a win. They should walk out of this round with a win as NOM come in with just the pistols, leaving NASR the opportunity to then at least clock up a better economy. Kazoo is playing a risky game. I mean, he is up against pistols, but close range is not where you want to be taking these fights. Even still, wins out the first 2, goes aggressive to find even more, and the ace is not going to be on the board as he's eventually taken down. Bew picking up only 1 kill, though, won't really be enough to be a positive amount of impact, really, or a significant one. We need to see him do even more damage, as moving into a 1v4, if he fails to kill anybody, that means NASR would at least pick up a better economy for the coming rounds, particularly for the next round, granting them the ability to buy should they even lose this coming one. And right now you can see that that should be the case. Even the utility reinvestment is going to be limited, as they saved over a lot of their grenades. NOM not really putting them into a position where they had to use nades at all. They could pretty much rely on just straight up aim dueling, as you saw coming through over towards the toilets. Kazoo right now on 14 kills, but don't be fooled by the fact that you saw him get so many with the up against the pistols. He's not only eco-fragging, definitely having a lot of impact across the board in the rounds that NASR are winning. But NOM right now have the rounds on the board. They're feeling good. 5-5 is a great scoreline for them this early on. Let's see if they can pick up a few more, because if they can, they present themselves with a great opportunity to close this map out. You must think about it. coming into the next map, or the next half rather. If they can have just 6 rounds on the board, that would be pretty great for them. A decent, you know, decent position. Considering where they started, though, I do feel like they're going to want more. This round has been messy, though, and leaving them into just a 1v5, which is quickly dealt with. NASR are actually looking better by the second. You can see at the moment on 6-5, they've got lots of economy secured, so that if they lose this one, they're easily able to rebuy. NOM not in a very nice economic spot, which means that their impact into this round should be even further limited, and they'll get less kills. Granting an even stronger economy later on for NASR, and leaving them in a position where they probably shouldn't have to eco until the next half. And remember, the objective for NASR still... The realistic objectives are still possibly going to be positive, as they only need to secure 10 rounds, but push over towards B is going to see Nerds going down. The Molotovs successfully stop any further players from pushing through, allowing NASR to regroup and gain a little bit of perspective on how things are going. The spam through the smoke is great for Havoc. He's going in with the USP as well. Why ever not? Swings around the smoke and finds another kill. And a 4-piece to be connected down towards B. Havoc having a hell of a round. Only up against pistols and avoiding losing too many weapons once again leaves NASR into a very, very strong spot. Their economy is uncontestable at this point. NOM will find it very difficult to leave them in a spot where they're wanting for money. With a pause coming through for the T's, this is not a spot that I really expected to see from NOM starting things out, because all things considered, they've had themselves a great start. Just taking a look back through their answer. Of course, we can do it here. Yes, indeed, we can. I believe we're on Faceit servers, which is fantastic, because normally if you do it on SEA servers, this part here, you're not able to see where it shows you the round history. So we can see that it was 5-2 up at one point for NOM. And finding themselves now in a position where NASR are ahead by 2 and haven't let them off that 5 mark is a very difficult spot to work from, because they're investing all of their economy into this round. If they lose here, especially without a bomb plant and multiple kills, they will land themselves in a spot where they're again unable to buy, and they'll have to wait for the final round to try and get 6 on the board. And while 6 is not terrible for Overpass T side, and indeed normally is a positive thing that a terrorist side manages that many rounds, considering the strong start that they had, it's certainly not optimal. Even in the second round of the half, they were very heavily contesting. It looks like they're returning to their former glory, as the push over towards middle is going to be very much successful. Zenser supporting from behind, throwing the flashbangs from Playground, allowed them to pick up 2 in short, leaving us now into a 4 versus 2, where NASR are going to have to try and recover this with very little information. The bomb now being retrieved looks to be angled towards B, and we have still got Havoc waiting down here with Breaker on his way back. It's a big gamble to make that they will hit the B bomb site, specifically after them finding so many kills on A. But if it works out, and we do see NOM pushing it, which by the looks of things we certainly will, you can see them grouped up outside as we speak, it could pay off massively for them. Especially as the time is running down. With 35 on the clock, as we see NOM pushing in, they might not even be able to get a bomb plant. They've still got a player sitting over towards the A bomb site. He'll be able to do very little. He's throwing out utility to try and fake. But NASR are committing. They're staying now towards the B bomb site. And this is really brave from them to assume it's not going to be a hit towards A. With 15 seconds left, all they have to do is stop this bomb from being planted. Havoc coming up. He can't catch the bomb planter, but even still into a 2v1. 8 seconds left on the clock. Breaker is going to push on forward. He's going to try to catch him off guard. He lands. Not the kill. He stopped shooting. I don't know if he ran out of ammunition there or what happened. What? Oh, there's a delay on the stream, so I can't even go back and check. I assume he ran out of ammunition. I didn't hear the clicks, though. That's really sad. If he had just dropped that bomb planter, he could have hit on the bomb side and avoided dying to heaven, found the frag, and it could have been beautiful. But instead, we land another round for the T side in what was really, really close cut. It ultimately ends up in favor of the terrorists, and now they have the chance to pull off a fantastic half scoreline. With 6 on the board being reasonable, anything from this point forward is going to be a bonus for the terrorists. As the flashbang goes over once more, this time it's going to be Nerds that's supporting, as we see the aggression coming on through from Larefny. He doesn't find the kill. Kazoo goes down low, though, and is going to back off towards the bomb site. So they've at least pushed them off, robbed a little bit of information from them. Information and map control early on. Obviously going to look good for the T side, having that in their control as they go for a boost here on short. They're going to attempt to find a couple players towards the bomb site. But not able to spot anything. With NASR having no information, they're resorting to spams to try and catch somebody off guard. It doesn't seem to be working just yet, though. And NOM eventually going to have to hit towards the bomb site. Now, the problem for them is they've no info either, and realistically, as they push towards the bomb site, it's essentially going to be a die roll. They don't know how many players they're pushing into, where they are, or if they even know they're coming. But as the utility goes down, oh, that flash is a little bit awkward from Kit Kat. We're going to see the shots going through the smoke on the site land well to start off for Hydrez. Gets a second as well, and not the third, but his teammate's there to land it. Look at the HP in play. The nade from Havoc is perfect. The Kobe onto Hydrez doesn't achieve quite as much as we'd hoped, though, as instantly Havoc goes down, leaving Breaker all alone. 1v4 to try and pull this off. Another nade in play. It goes towards the back of the truck, and the Kobe is successful. 1v3 now. Nertz and Zens are both very low HP, and the only full HP player is Bew, who's over towards Connector, but it doesn't matter as the kills are found. In the end, it's Zensor landing that, and we see a fantastic half. 7-7 now in favor of no team. It's only going to be one round as we swing through to the second half. Only one round lead, 8-7. But at the moment, I do feel like NOM are definitely looking like the better team. They had a little bit of a slow middle period to the half, but even still, even if they finish 8-7 behind, they've still got a really, really good foundation built for themselves. And we'll take a look at the halftime as to what the odds are suggesting. NOM were massively favored to start it off, and I feel like we definitely did see them ease off a little bit, and NASR started to look a whole lot better, so there's definitely signs of hope there. But with this being their map pick, you don't want to see them giving away so many rounds to the T side early on, as Breaker picks up one. Kobe swing comes around with the UMP. That's a second kill for him, as he's going to look for even more up on top of the barrels, and even spots out Larefny, takes him down 2, leaving it 8-7 in their favor, and a pretty solid performance all in all in the final round from NASR, but I do feel like they've just given too much leeway at this point towards NOM. With 13 kills on Bew, Larefny's having a pretty good time too. We'll take a look now and see exactly what the odds are suggesting. 1.24 in favor of NOM, so definitely still looking better. This is for the second map, of course. And so if you believe that they're incorrect, pop on over to gg.bet. You can land yourself a little bit of money, a little bit of cash dollar, if you're right. So as we move on through, the B-bomb site is going to be under threat. NASR making a lot of progress towards there very quickly. You've already got a flank coming down from Zensor too, but he's not able to spot out a whole lot. Oh, never mind, actually. He catches Nami, at least a glimpse of him. There's some information in play, but there's a player towards water is not really going to be too helpful in terms of calls, and pretty much torn apart as they push on through as well. You can see Bew and Larefny, low HP at this point, spotted out completely. They're facing against at least 3 Glocks every time they peek out. And 9-7. And NASR getting a little bit lucky that there was nobody towards the B-bomb site. But luck is all they need, because now feeling pretty good about themselves, moving on to a 9-7 scoreline, they should be able to connect a further one, as I doubt NOM are going to go for a 4-spy here. Coming on into round number 17, we got to take a look at both teams. NOM right now relying on 2 players to kind of heavy frag. A little bit of support coming through towards the bottom. NASR, I feel like, are having a little bit more of a well-rounded performance, and with the majority of the rounds on the board for them, they're not looking too terrible with the fact that they should be reaching double digits right now. Even still, I feel like that does definitely leave over a little bit of leeway towards NOM. Should they win this coming buy round, they would then be well back within favor. Really, the objective here, I suppose, should be to avoid dying to the SMGs. You've got no armor, only one P250. So objective 1, don't die to SMGs. Objective 2, find a couple kills. Objective 3, win the round. In that order. Oh, that's a very risky drop down from Zenser. Or not from Zenser, sorry, from Kazoo. Zenser's the one picking up the kill, of course, with the P250. Now getting a little bit more aggressive, too. You can see him sitting over towards the fence. He's going to try to catch somebody off guard as they push through. He knows Kit Kat's here now. The flashbang is not going to land all too much in terms of the vision obscuration. Vision obscurity. But it does at least allow him to find one more kill. And it's with an SMG as well, so bonus money. Picked up an AK, but not able to land anything on the back of it. 10-7, a 3-round lead develops for NASR. But here's their big challenge. You see, they did lose a couple players in the previous round, meaning reinvestment is going to be coming through, crippling their economy should they lose this round. At least putting it into not as strong of a position as we would have thought with how that round started off. Furthermore, NOM have come in here with 4 AUGs and just a 1 M4. The M4 being pulled out by Nertz in order to allow him to still pick up a smoke, which is already deployed towards middle, allowing him to peek around in Picnic and support his teammate Hydrez, who's going for the early pick. Nothing to be found there, though, as the push is coming down through Connector, as was quickly found out by Larefny. With that information in his pocket, he just bails on out towards the A-bomb site, leaving NASR to try and figure out where they want to go. I have information that they've pushed somebody off of A, but of course they have no intel towards A long, where we've already seen aggression come through and lots of map control secured for the CTs. With that map control, they've rotated a third player down to the B-bomb site, leaving a much heavier defense at play. Nami just waiting for a flank to come through, though, is going to be successful in catching Nertz off guard. And now things become a little bit more difficult. You see, into a 4v5 rather, even a 4v4 favors the terrorist side because it weakens the defense a little bit, spreads them more thinly, but especially when they've got a man advantage to work with, it's very hard to pull into a round as the CT side. And as you see, even with a play like that, with 2 kills coming in, it's very quickly dealt with because NASR always have that extra body to throw at a fight. Gearing up towards the B-bomb side. They've got to be a little bit cautious about Nami because he was slowly coming down Connector, but eventually makes it there. Zenser's hiding towards the back of the bomb site. Surely he doesn't go unchecked. Oh, he has gone unchecked. He's going to be able to catch one, maybe even a second, and catch the bomb planter. The spray down's good on Nami. It was a little bit of an awkward spray, but hell, it connected. And the element of surprise granted him just enough for him to walk away with that kill. NOM on 10-8. This is not the spot that NASR wanted to be in. That round was looking fantastic for them. They had the man advantage. They traded back in every fight. They played it perfectly, except for not checking back towards the barrels. Zenser walks away with that big play. Once more, NOM are in favor. They're looking stronger than NASR at this moment in time. Sure, the rounds are in favor of NASR, but you've got to take into consideration the fact that they're on the T side. Facing off against another full buy. If they lose this, they've got no money for the next, which puts them into a position where they're probably going to be on 10-10 tied up. Although a couple of kills do come in, so weapons are retrieved. And although saving in this situation isn't really possible, or plausible rather, the chance of winning the round is there. Runs out of ammunition. I mean, Havoc's not having a good day in that regard. Nade goes on through, doesn't find any damage on the back of it, unfortunately, even with Havoc being so low. But the information is in play already. The CTs know that there are players towards B. But with 1 minute, that can change very drastically. We are going to see NASR move towards water, and the question is whether they commit towards the bomb site, actually looking to get a boost going. As Breaker will go up on top. He's the player with more HP, so it makes sense. He's about to catch Bew. The timing is really bad, but eventually spots him out and takes him down. Smoke towards Heaven. Molotov as well in CT, and this will be a push towards B for sure, but they don't know that Zensor's there. He's able to pick up the low HP Havoc and even gets a second. Another headshot connected and another two-man repulsion of the B take. 10-9. NOM are pulling into this very, very well because, sure, the economy doesn't look great, so if they lose this round, they're in a lot of hot water. But the problem for the T side is it's very unlikely that NOM lose this round. They should be coming up against Glocks with maybe an upgraded pistol or two, and indeed we're going to see 3 coming in. B250s making their way into the hands of the terrorist side, at least some of them. So NASR are approaching this in a very weird way, I suppose. Slowly making their way towards A and B. They're very spread out. They're not grouping up in the same way we normally expect to see pistol rounds kind of played out. The faster rush towards a bomb site. And although they've dropped one weapon, it won't really be sufficient to do any lasting economic damage. But that second kill is what tips it over. The balance now in favor of the terrorist side for the next round. As you can see, NOM, with the reinvestment that they're going to have to make, dropping over weapons, those 2 players that have perished are going to cost them quite a lot. Especially just in terms of future round potential. On 10-10. NASR at this point, look, they've got a lot of utility to work with. NOM come in. Yeah, they've got an AWP in play. They've got a couple of rifles, an AUG. I mean, there's nothing wrong with their buy. Certainly not in terms of utility. The hardware is there, as we said. But the problem is that if they lose this, they don't have the money to rebuy. Nami finds a quick trade, but they're not aware that Nurse is up close. He swings out for more. And although he does the damage to Kazoo, it is still a 3v3. But the T side don't go together. They're spread out. They're allowing Hydras to take kill after kill, resetting his aim, resetting his spray, going into an even fight after finding a kill. And an advantage for his team, spreading it into a 2-man advantage and even making it out of there alive, leaving only Havoc to try and pull this back. The bomb also dropped. This round has very quickly spiraled out of control. And it comes back to the point we made earlier about how the T side for NOM definitely did feel a lot more structured. You could see that they weren't falling victim to situations like that. One player hiding in a corner never really found more than just the 1 kill because there was always someone there to trade it. And although NASR start out well, and they start out in that kind of position, we saw Nami finding the trades. We saw a further trade towards Party as well. But later on, when you get into a position where things are a little bit more chaotic, you know, the round's gone on a little bit, there's been pockets of unsuspected action, that's when we then see NASR kind of fall behind in terms of their cohesion and their teamwork. They're not moving together as a unit. They're pushing, just assuming angles are clear, which is fine to do sometimes when you're pressured by the clock, especially. We expect to see teams do that. But with so much time left, it is better to just take it that little bit slower and regroup as a team, even if you do give the CTs a little bit more time to regroup themselves mentally and kind of assess what kind of map control and information they have to work with. It's not going to be the worst situation for you because you're not going to be caught out like they were there by Hydras down towards the connector. And so NOM, the team that have been looking better throughout, maintain their course as the favored team, still on 1.24 round handicap for the next map. I assume it's a 2.5 or 3.5 round handicap. And so favored for the next map, and it means if they win this one, then things look very, very bothersome for NASR. They've invested into weak pistols here, so we don't expect too much to come through from them. Larafni's not going to find too much. Nothing at all, even with the AWP. had a decent read in them pushing through the smoke, but his teammates are there with the rifles. And not losing a weapon is kind of the important thing to highlight there for NOM. That round, you don't expect NASR to do anything in it. There's not too much to talk about. They push B fast. It's a decent attempt. We saw what they tried previously on a round like that, where they spread out when they had just base pistols to work with. And it did see some reward, definitely more than what we just saw there. But it's when you go for those chaotic, hectic, and just fast plays early round that you can maybe catch your opponents off guard. Doesn't work this time, as NOM had 3 players there. And now we're going to see the full buy from NASR. An AWP coming out on Nami is actually a glass cannon at that. So not even a fantastic buy coming through for the terrorists, as even the utility is limited with both Nami and Havoc lacking some. With the situation looking pretty dire at the moment for the terrorist side. I mean, behind by 2, with only 4 left for NOM to find a victory. If they land this one, again, it'll probably be 14-10, as they should get a consecutive round where we see what previously happened, just the pistol rush, or the pistol buy in general. You know, we should see that coming through once more. And again, in that kind of round, teams tend to have a pretty decent win rate of 80-90%, so it's unlikely that NASR walk away with the victory if they lose this one here. Doing well to find Bu, though. Opens up the B bomb site. They've only got to be careful of Zenser, who's already eliminated. The bomb plant going down. NASR have pulled into this round really, really well, as they actually do catch NOM off guard with a bit of a slower play. NOM, void of any information, we're unaware of that B push, and losing a further player at this point, they should just go for a save. They've not really got much to do here. In a 2v4 retake of B, time limited as well. No kits in play at the moment. They'll have to run through the corpses of their teammates to pick one up, as I assume their teammates had a kit. I didn't check that before, but I just assume when teams have so much money, they're buying kits. And if anything, I actually really like the fact that NOM didn't fully invest into like 5 kits. So long as you have a player playing around the bomb site. So let's say you've got a kit on A, a kit on B, and each player is going to anchor the bomb site 100% of the time. Well, if a push comes towards B and your kit player dies, you still have a kit, basically. Because when you're going for the retake, if you kill them all, you're obviously going to have to go to the bomb where the player is pretty close by. And so for the investment that you save, if you're losing 3 players every round, let's say, for example, that really hits your economy, but now all of a sudden, that's actually $1,200 less every single round that you're losing. Which does help out. I mean, after just 3, it's already an AUG bought up. So those kind of streamline things, but then it requires a lot of coordination with who's going to anchor site, like fully anchor site. Let's take a look at things. Oh no, how's Hydres left unchecked? How is he allowed to get away with that? Back turned, picks up 4. He's inside a Molotov. He knows that, though. He catches that information, leaving only Breaker left in a 1v5. And I really thought that was going to be a slower round. NASR have kind of thrived when they've played it slow. Every time that they've gone for a faster execute, they've lost, but they group up outside B. I assume they're going to just go for Angels when the smokes dissipate, but instead, a Molotov over, a flashbang, and they want to just full push it. Not the ideal spot to play from, especially not when you've rifles. That's the kind of play I expect to come through when you're seeing a couple maybe P250s in play. Then that's a perfectly viable strategy. Definitely not the kind of play you expect from full AKs. With a fairly fragile economy in a position that puts NOM, you know, only a few steps away from victory. They only need to win this buy round. Then they're up against an eco and it's 15-11. Oh no, the smoke does nothing. Thrown a little bit too far. I gotta say, at this point, you know, NASR, they need to win this round. It's the most important one for them so far. If they don't walk away with a victory here, it's pretty much sweet dreams. You know, they need to win so many in a row up against NOM that it just doesn't feel likely. It's possible. It's definitely possible, but I feel just with the way NOM have been playing right now, they won't allow 4 consecutive rounds to come through. And obviously, if NOM win this one, they probably get to 15. as I expect NASR would then eco and play for overtime. Slow progress being made towards A. They always check towards long, so they're going to see Nerds, but he's able to still walk away with 2 kills. Eventually eliminated, but the information is also very valuable, as the Refney is going to be on edge. He's looking towards the toilets, misses the shot though. Both Alpers do. And NASR relocate. They're going to refocus towards the B bomb site. The problem is, Lorefny's a confident player. He says, I've got this, guys. Rotate down. Don't worry about it. Nobody's pushing me. So now they've got 3 players on B. Support from heaven is Bu. He's going to swing out to try and find at least one and lands it, leaving it all down to Hydraz to pick up the final. The wallbang headshot is connected. 14-11. NOM face off against a very weak economy from NASR. Force buy is possible, but a timeout comes through, and I think that's going to be presumably just to figure out whether they want to buy or not. Do they want to play for an overtime and then try to win 4 consecutive rounds from a position that definitely hasn't looked all too likely so far that will be connected? As the timeout comes to a close, NASR have to make a decision. It's now or never. Do they go for the full buy? Well, I think the right decision is probably to play for that OT. As unlikely as it is, it's less likely that they pull it off here. And it looks like they're going to agree with that call. Taking pistols and armor. Going to attempt to get some damage done in this round. And coming back to what we said earlier, the faster strategies, the full-on rushes towards bomb sites, haven't looked all too favorable for the T side, and it looks like we shouldn't see that. With the amount of utility bought up, this is definitely a full round. Well, you've got the ability to play for the long game, play that clock down. They've got full smokes coming into it. They've already deployed one of them on Havoc. Deployed over towards B by the looks of things. Oh, his name comes up as Javi on the thing. I think it shows Steam names in-game, does it? That's pretty cool. Didn't know that. You learn something new every day. Either Steam or it shows Faceit names on the map. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. As we look towards long, Deagle on Nami does a lot of damage. Nerds is still re-peeking that up against pistols, which is very risky, knowing that they have Deagles in play. Ah, yes, Raven. I've been told this every single time that I've done these qualifiers and I've cast Unique Stars. He was on before, right? That his name is backwards. Infernal. I recall now. It's one of those things you only realize after you've been told again. So yeah, indeed, Infernal. I knew there was something weird about that name that I wasn't catching. Well, Infernal's playing A. He's going to be given an opportunity with the AWP. An opportunity missed as he's not able to land that shot, but Bu is there with the AUG to at least find one as Nertz follows through with a few more, swinging out onto long, and eventually Infernal gives us the action we've been waiting to see, landing himself another kill and a 15th round for Team NOM. As we now need only one more on the CT side, this is going to be a very awkward spot for NASR to play from. They've not looked great throughout this game. I think NOM have definitely looked like the stronger team, even despite being a far newer lineup as a core 5. But taking into consideration the fact that NASR have got themselves a decent amount of rounds when the weapons came out. You remember over towards their CT side, that's where they found their 5 consecutive, was in the full buy rounds. So perhaps now with full AKs and full utility, I mean the last time we saw them with this, they went for a straight B rush. This time it's the CTs pushing B. That might not be as favorable for them. Infernal luckily able to trade out, but as Breaker lands one towards A, that's a man advantage in play. As if the 4v4 wasn't bad enough. Now NOM even further behind, have to try and pull this back. Nami just taking the bomb out, dropping it to his teammate. I mean, it's a risky play. Oh, it's a decent nade, actually. Doesn't do too much damage, though. Infernal has the idea. He has an iota that they're going for a booster. There's at least some players here. Doesn't spot anybody out. Bu jump peeking over. This is going to cause a couple of problems, though, because at this point, Kazoo heard the jump peek. He knows he hasn't been spotted. Nobody's pushed through water, so they should have the idea that at least it's going to be a hit towards, or that there's going to be a rotation up towards A. As Hydrez is taken down in toilets, this is the perfect opportunity. All they have to do is throw a couple of pieces of utility towards that A bomb site and rotate down to B with the information they gained on Kazoo. And looks like that's what they're going to be going for. Even sold further by Breaker moving forward, this is really nice because I'm actually surprised Infernal's sticking around towards B. With so much utility fake presence made on A as well, with so little time, you would imagine it was going to be an A hit. And in actual fact, it is going to be an A hit. What is going on? NASR think they've sold a fake, then they go back, and they've actually sold a fake of a fake. That's crazy. It looks like just indecisive decisions from the T side, but it's worked out. They've completely confused NOM. As Bu pushes forward, he's unable to find the kill, leaving it all onto Infernal, who can't manage anything either, being watched out by Kazoo, leaving it 15-12. And I gotta say, that was a really nice thing from NASR all in all. Like, the play was questionable. You find the kill towards A. You've already heard them spot out B and not see anybody, so you know they've got information. Nobody's B, 2 players A. You can really quickly sprint down connector, get a B bomb site with no one on it. But instead they go A slowly, which then indicates to NOM that it's not going to be an A hit because no one showed presence for a little bit after heavily faking. So it should be B, which I suppose it should have been. It was really weird. I'm not sure if it was indecisive or just 300 IQ. Of 15-12, the opening pick goes towards Infernal, which greatly increases the CT's chances of winning because he bails off and manages to get out of there with still his op in play and the man advantage for his team. But even with that, he wants to flash his teammate in as Nerds picks up one. Infernal looking for an even further trade. I don't know if he's going to be able to find it, though, as he's eventually forced off the angle. Great flashbang, leaves him in the open. He's basically standing there with his tail between his legs, waiting for somebody to cut it off, as he was completely blind. Really nice timing by NASR there on the flashbang over. And good follow through by finding the kill. Now as Bu rotates up with an AWP in play, he's going to try to get some damage done on that op, and the timing's really bad for him. Running back through the Molotov, he almost falls, but eventually he's going to be able to get out of there alive down towards bank as Hydrez picks up 2 on the bomb site. It is 16-12. It is the end of the map, and what has been a very, very scary prospect, all things considered, has turned out pretty well. We can see now that coming into the next map, it is still going to be heavy favor towards NOM on the odds, 1.24 towards them for map number 2. So if you agree with that, make sure to pop on over and state so by dropping your money, your big cash dollar bills, on Team NOM to win. Or if you think that maybe NASR are being undervalued and the next map is going to be better for them, fair enough. I disagree. They're coming into the map pick of NOM. Being a fresh team, I think that coming onto a Puggy style map is where you're going to favor them the most. And of course, the next map is going to be Dust 2. One map where we're definitely going to see a lot less tactical play, although they've shown themselves definitely proficient on that side. The individual performances are also shining through. I mean, we saw Hydrez walk away. He definitely wasn't the most impactful on the T side. But as we moved over to the second half, he had so many huge plays throughout that map. Then now they're going to have to focus on shutting him down and getting something done, because right now this is a very, very scary start for NASR, losing their map pick and leaving NOM into a favored position. We're going to go to a quick break, though, before map number 2 starts up, so stick around and we'll catch you back here in just a few minutes.
Charge up your game with excitement. Highest odds on the market. Coverage of all live and pre-match events. Place your bets with Solid Bookmaker and win with your favorite teams. Take what's rightfully yours with GG.bet.